Hello, hello. Welcome to this next YouTube training with your good friend Amanda Curry, the somatic DPT. I've got my lemon water here today, no beef jerky today, like last time. And I was super excited to bring you guys this training, especially on the heels of the shifts in the seasons. So whether you are watching this, in and around when it's released in the fall of 2025, whether you are listening to it in the spring of 2026 or years from now, it is very likely that you are going to be present to some sort of season in your life, whether it is physically a shift in a season from spring to fall, fall to winter, winter to spring, or if it is a season in your life. I also, at the recording of this, am this week transitioning out of full-time physical therapy work after 16 years of work. And so that in and of itself gets to be a season. There's a season of us birthing babies, of us building our family, of us having our family structure look differently. Seasons of really anything and everything. It's a season, just like the song. And a thing that goes along with seasons is really what it's encapsulating is a transition. There is a change. And so often we attach ourselves to the word season or the thing that is related to the season, when really what we get to be present to is the deeper layer of transitions, and then the deeper layer of that, which is change. And I don't know if you're anything like me, but change is something that doesn't always happen in a super smooth, grounded way. And depending on your personality pattern, which if you don't know what that is, you can check some of the other trainings that are on my YouTube channel now. It is something that is a beautiful tool that Stephen Kessler created to be able to recognize your stress response and the behaviors attached to the responses when you are under stress, in stress. And for me, being a primary rigid pattern, or one that runs the rigid pattern, I love structure. I love predictability. And I think as a whole, our society, whether you run the pattern of rigid or not, tends to like things that are predictable, planned, structured. We've just gotten into this place of Western efficiency that A plus B always should equal C. And so opening up this conversation today on not just seasons, but transitions and change. And so before we start anything, like I shared in my previous video, we are going to take 3 cleansing breaths, 3 slow, grounded breaths, and allow us to actually transition into and arrive into the space of this training. So you get to join me breathing in, letting it out with a sigh. It does. It feels good every time you do that. Breathing in and letting it out. And then maybe that third one, you want to bring a little bit of heat to it. So breathing in and maybe sighing, or maybe bringing a little bit of fire to that. Maybe you are in this space of a transition, a change, a season, and what you need is not to put on the happy face, to not smile and bear it. It's to bring some energy and heat to meet the activation in your system, right? First and foremost, noticing what is in our system as we are with ourselves in these changes, these transitions, in these seasons of life. And like I said, in transitions and in a change in a season, there's always a messy middle. And that transition, that shift from point A to point B is really oftentimes where we find the crunchiness really lies. And it's because there is an unknown, because oftentimes it's not black and white. There's not a duality. And it's often because we thrive on what is known and what is predictable, like I said earlier. And you get to notice, if you are one that is a thinker, to start this practice of noticing where you are resisting transitions, where you are really stuffing or compressing the feelings of change, and noticing in your mind what are the limiting beliefs that are present for you as you navigate these changes, these transitions, these seasons of your life, right? Is there a belief that if you just work harder and have a hold tighter, everything will be safe and you'll feel better, right? Maybe it's I need to think about everything else but the transition, but the change, but the season that I'm in. Maybe we think our way out of feeling what's present for us, right? Maybe there's a limiting belief around anything that I'm feeling is getting in the way to success that I want, achievements, financial gain, connection to others. And so I'm not going to feel any of the things in the in between because that's going to keep me from what I desire, which is actually the exact opposite of what's true, right? And some of us feel and believe that if I just surrender to what's present to me, I'm going to fall apart. If I just surrender to the transition of my kid going from daycare to regular traditional school, I'm going to be a pile of goo on the floor and I'm not going to be of use to anybody. And the laundry's going to get behind and the dishes are going to pile up and my husband or my partner is going to think I'm crazy, right? So notice, you may even want to pause this video and ask yourself, what are just the beliefs that I have around changes in seasons, transitions, and just change in general? Write those down, notice them, and notice them in a way that you are now connecting to sensations and emotions in your body. Is there fear there? Is there a hollowness in your chest? Is there an anxiety there, a wanting to control? Feeling that in like your hands, your arms, your face. Getting really, really clear about drilling down to our somatic body of what's going on within. And for a lot of you guys, you have a lot to gain from the middle ground, right? You have a lot to be gifted in being in the messy middle, but none of us have ever surrendered or allowed ourselves to be in that because of all the beliefs. And so noticing as you are in a transition of a life event, an identity, a relationship, notice as you want to leave, as in physically, emotionally, energetically, notice if you can remind yourself, I'm safe to feel this. And notice if you can stay for just 5 minutes longer, an hour longer, a half a day. Can you stay in presence to what is here and what is all here, letting go of the dialogue of this and noticing, taking time to, on the other side of that 5 minutes, on the other side of that hour, on the other side of that half a day or a week, what feels true now? I stayed. It was safe to stay. What do I now know to be true? Because all of this is bringing you back to the gift of something called interoception, of understanding the signals of your body, of being able to feel safe in tracing those sensations all around your body, and of naming both the felt sense, the interoception as safe, as that it gets to be here, that you're not being chased by a lion, that though in your parents' divorce when you were 10, that there was an unknown, that that's not what's happening right now. You get to validate how you feel and differentiate that this is not that, right? This is a decision about what school you're going to send your kids. This is a decision about, are you going to stay full-time and move to part-time, right? Is this a decision that I'm going to start to make space from a friend group or change the trajectory of a friendship? This is not what you experienced usually when you were less than 7, an early adolescent, a teenager. So remind yourself of that. So practical tools for transitions are naming the limiting belief, are checking in with your body, are reminding yourself that you're safe. Imagine yourself like a metaphorical bull rider. Like, can I ride this out for 10 seconds? Not can I endure it, but can I be with it for just a little bit longer? So couple of things that at times feel really supportive for people that are very, very granular transitions that are sometimes creating havoc in your system day to day. Biggest transitions are potential crunchiness in your day are the transitions of the day. So when you first wake up, when you finally get the kids maybe off to school and you're finally at work or you're back at home, and when the kids come home or when you are getting home from work. Those are big transition points throughout your day. And a lot of times there's a lot of patterns that come online in those 4 areas of our day because there's a very large switch from a lot of activity to none or no activity to a lot. And so our body doesn't have time to make this really cohesive, smooth shift from one set of energy or a lack of energy to a lot of energy. And so again, this is something that you can do today or starting tomorrow, is noticing in these transition upon waking, going to bed, getting yourself ready in the morning or your kids ready in the morning, and then transitioning out of work and into life after work, notice where you're at energetically in all of those phases in your coming days. Notice the sensations in your body. Notice your behaviors. Is there more aggression? Do you withdraw? Is there a need for space and alone time, at least for just a little bit? These are huge transitions that happen every day that you get to start to have a more embodied experience with and a healthier, more present relationship with. And each one of these gets to be supported in a completely different way. So as you are waking and as you are going to sleep, there is usually a big shift in no energy to lots, unless you have the leisure of waking up slow. And that may be the first thing that you do is if you notice that the transition upon waking or the transition upon going to bed is very crunchy for you, notice what's needed in that space. Is it that you need more space? You need more time to go to sleep, or you need more time in waking. Because for a lot of the patterns, let's go back to the patterns, leaving pattern, it's not safe to be here. Things that are really fast feel too much, too soon, too fast. Those that run the enduring pattern, you can't make me, hunkering down, need a lot of space to operate. You all may be ones that need to lengthen your morning or evening routine. You may need to somehow create some space and separation between you and those around you in those periods of time. You may need to utilize body-based practices, breathing, movement, sound, to support yourself in the transition of waking and of going to bed. The period of time with the transition, getting ready, lots of energy, to nothing, I'm at work, or nothing, I'm back at home. That usually is a little bit of a smaller window. Same thing of when you're first getting home or first picking up the kids and getting home. Smaller window, compressed energy. That's oftentimes when we have a lot of things come up in our system as well. So going to work, getting home from the morning time, from the morning rush, may look as simple as a 5-minute practice, hand on the belly, hand on the chest, just breathing in and sensing where your body's at. Just sensing. Not that there's anything to do, nothing to change, nothing to fix. It's just to check in. Maybe you add a little bit of humming on the exhale to bring your energy back into your core, to settle yourself, to remind yourself that you're safe, that was a lot of expansion, and now we get to come back to presence. And then upon coming back home, same thing. You're usually barraged with a lot of energy. So not that you can hide right away necessarily, but as you get people settled, as you say your hellos, as you re-engage with your life from work or silence into engaging with your kids, noticing if you can get them settled and that you can take at least 5 minutes to yourself and allow yourself to re-engage into having people around or shifting from work to being. That can be also some movement practices, some energetic practices. I have some really, really great ones that I can point you towards if that's something that you feel like would be beneficial from you. Brushing, like energetic moving of energy that was your stillness and now is being bombarded by children's energy, or the energy of the day of your work life and allowing that to fall away so that you can be present with those that you care about and you love. Taking it from the macro, lots of changes, lots of transitions, lots of seasons in lives, to the daily transitions and how that can feel really, really crunchy for you. And how a lot of times that's where our activations and triggers come out, right? So before I leave you, we're going to do a brief check-in with your inner child. You can shut this off if you want. You can be like, forget you, Amanda. I'm not checking in with my inner child. That's fine. It's okay. That's why it was set up this way. But when you're ready, you can always come back. If you are ready, I want you to take a seat, sit back, take a position on the floor if you like. Just close your eyes. Have a soft gaze to the ceiling or an item in front of you, whichever feels safest for you. As you take a deep breath in, and just like we did at the top of the call, sigh it out. Breathe in again. And this time, hum it out. Another breath in. And I want you to make the sigh or the sound VOO, V-O, VOO. We're going to repeat all 3 of those. Breathing in, sighing it out. Breathing in, humming. Last one. Breathe in and VOO. Ooh. If you need to pause this recording and continue those 3 sets of inhales and exhales, do that. And if you're ready to move on, I want you to scan your body from the top of your head to your feet, nice and slowly. I want you to notice any places that feel warm and solid, open and spacious. Those are places of safety in your body. And as you come across those, as those bubble up, I want you to breathe into those, taking your choice of exhale, however feels good. Continuing to bring your presence, your breath, your awareness to these safe spaces in your body. Breathing in. And exhale out again. Safe to anchor into this openness. Safe to feel held by this softness. And I want you to bring yourself now, if you're ready, to a moment when you've noticed that there's been a change or a transition or a season that's felt incredibly crunchy. Riding those waves of uncertainty or control, being confused as to why you're showing up the way that you're showing up in these transitions throughout your day or the week. Allow the safety in your body to bring up one of these scenarios or situations in your mind's eye. And then I want you to notice in your body if there's any sensations or activations that are also coming up as you bring yourself back to the awareness that I'm present to a crunchiness in this transition, present to a resistance of a change or a season. And I want you to connect to your inner child, whatever age that pops up, that's connected to this resistance, to this crunchiness, to this feeling of a lack of safety around a transition being too much, too soon, too short of amount of time, maybe a change, bringing an unknown, or a season, just bringing up parts in your little one that just need to be seen, held, and felt. Noticing if you can take in all that they have to show you right now, their body position, their energy. How are they responding? How are they feeling to this crunchiness, this resistance, this lack of safety? Letting them say anything that they need to say. Just holding that presence with them. It's okay if you feel what they feel. Allow that to flow through you. It's what it's there for. To bring it up and out, to be felt, to let it flow, to bring it out into the light. To no longer hold it, keep it hidden and packed away. And as you do that, I want you to just breathe in, repeating out loud to yourself and to this little one in front of you, I see you. I see what you're struggling with. Another deep breath in, let it out, letting them know you hear them. Wholly and completely. 2 more deep breaths in, letting those breaths out and sharing, you are safe with me. And I've got you. Just holding them in your awareness, feeling what they are feeling, saying to them, I see you. I hear you. You're safe with me. I've got you. Staying here for a moment, letting your body really feel what it's like to offer yourself this kind of presence. Offer your little one this kind of presence, this heart, open space, this permission. allowing that safety in your nervous system that you connected to at the beginning of this practice to really guide you into. There's no need to erase discomfort, crunchiness, but just meet it with love. You can stay with your inner child as long as they need you to, listening to them, offering them support. And then when you're ready, coming back to the present day, slowly making movements of your body, fluttering your eyes open, feeling into your feet and your hands and the support beneath you. Letting yourself be in this energy that you've just cultivated and connected to, that you've let flow through you and make space for something more. Reminding yourself that the messy middle is never too much for you. Every part of you, even this little one within, gets to be held in any season, any change, any transition that you feel day to day. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so much for being you. And I hope that this recording was supportive. Share it with a friend, share it with a family member. Come back to it as much as you need to, and know that I'm here. Talk to you soon.